Hello friends, welcome back. In this video, we are going to start working on our marketing module in our CRM cloud. As you can see, I have included 3 different pages in marketing module: campaign, leads, opportunity. And again, these pages are very much identical, and you can always add more pages or remove these pages as per your business requirement. Now, campaign is a page which lets you store all the campaign related information. So for example, in your business, you may want to capture all the relation information for a campaign. So for example, you are running a Facebook ad campaign or a TV ad or maybe a local template, something like that. Whatever campaign you are running to promote your product, this page will allow you to capture all the information related to that particular campaign. Like for example, when it was started, when it was ended, and all the expenses what you have done, and who are the people who are responsible for that, assignments, addresses, when did you run it, things like that. Again, it's a very flexible page, so please feel free to customize it as per your business requirement. You can add or remove as many fields as you like. Just like campaign, the next fundamental is the leads. So for example, you run Facebook ads or TV ads and you end up getting a lot of leads. Leads is the, like, for example, somebody has expressed interest in your product or that particular campaign. So suppose you're running a promotion and somebody called you and said, okay, you know what, I'm interested in that promotion. So that's called a lead. Just like campaign, you can have as many fields as you want to store a lead. Again, the idea is you want to store the persons who have shown interest in your promotion. You want to store their information. So for example, somebody has called you and you want to capture their phone numbers, email or addresses, and again the expenses or whatever field you want to capture associated with that particular lead. Now after the lead, so for example, somebody has shown the interest and next thing is he called you again, so that becomes an opportunity. So out of these leads, you want to have the opportunity. So now, as you can see my screen, you can find all of these codes to my GitHub repository, and I'm going to include that link to my GitHub repository to this video description. Now, again, if you're finding this video for the first time, please watch the previous video. Otherwise, this video will not make any sense to you. In previous videos, I have shown you how to set up your local development environment and how to set up the different pages, the row level security. So for example, only your marketing people can see the lead, or maybe an admin can see the lead, things like that. So it's very easy to set it up, but I highly recommend you watch the previous videos. Now let's get started. So first thing you want to do, just head out to your terminal window and browse to the directory where you see the package.json file. Now I'm going to create a couple of the component, and I'm going to use Angular CLI for that, NGGC. And first the component I'm going to create is the campaign. Okay, and after campaign component, I want to create 2 more components: leads and opportunity. Lead, and next thing is opportunity. So now I've created the 3 different components: campaign, lead, and opportunity. In this video, I'm going to show you only one, and rest of the things will be copy paste, exact replica of this one, because as I stated earlier, it depends on your business requirement, and you can add or configure extra fields or remove the extra fields, whatever suits your need. All right, so let's go to the next thing you want to do here. You have to make sure that all of these components what you just created, these are included into your app.module.ts file. So let's go to app.module.ts file and make sure that these 3 components, campaign component, lead component, and opportunity component, are included. That looks good. Next thing you want to do, let's go head out to your app.routing.module.ts file, and here you want to create the 3 different routes for this. Otherwise, your user will not be your user will not be able to browse to these pages. Okay, now let's include those to your routes array. And I'm going to create 3 different routes: one for campaign, lead, and opportunity. Okay, that looks good. Next thing is, now we have added those to your app.module.ts. We have created the routes. Now let's go to your header.component.html file and include those to your navigation menu. One more thing I want to call it out. Remember, in previous videos, I have shown you how to secure that. So for example, only your employees or maybe a marketing people have access to this particular menu. That means implementing the menu level security or role level security. And I already have covered those in previous videos. So here I'm just going to copy paste and make use of that CRM role what we created in last video. So as you can see, the route is secured. It says address book.visible. Only if that is true, this menu will appear. Otherwise, your user will not even see this menu if he doesn't have access to these menus. All right, so let's go create those mat menu. And I'm going to include those three routes inside my CRM menu. Campaign. Let's go other one, include other one, lead. And the last one is the opportunity. It looks good now. Perfect. So now I think we are almost done with that setup. Let's open campaign.component.ts and campaign.component.html file. Now, just to recap, in previous video you have seen we implemented the address book functionality. Now this page, campaign component, is 99% identical to what we have already implemented. So that means my campaign page will have a result screen, add screen, edit screen, and a search screen. So instead of redesigning everything, I'm just going to copy the entire TypeScript file. Let's go to campaign.typescript file, and I'm going to split this into screens and then paste it over. Same thing with address.component.html file. Copy the entire screen. Copy the entire HTML file and replace it in campaign.component.html file. Okay, now let's start making changes one by one. So as you can see, I want to keep everything except that selector part, the app campaign. So I'm going to replace that selector template URL in style URL. And now let's change the component name. So campaign component. So I'm going to replace it as well and get rid of all the vanilla code. Select, delete. Perfect. So this is 99, as I said, it's very much similar as the address.component.html. Now I think I will show you how easy it is to add or remove extra fields. So in my campaign, so I want to have couple of extra fields, right? So in address book, I had name, phone number, contact type, addresses, emails, and phone numbers. Okay. So I'm going to, everything else remains the same. I just added the new fields. So my new fields for my campaign page is name, campaign ID, campaign type, start date, end date, status, and addresses, assignments, and expenses. Again, it's totally up to you. That's why I keep on saying it's very flexible design. You can have as many fields as you want. You can add or add extra or remove any fields which you don't like. It's as easy as that. So all I need to do, make sure that form, it has that means because this is a reactive form, so make sure all of these form elements has all the fields whatever as per your requirement. Now I'm just going to copy over the same thing and let's go to the edit form section. I'm going to paste it over there. The only difference between add form and edit form is edit data form has one extra field is underscore ID. Next thing is the result screen. So remember in address book, result screen is the name of the fields which you want to display. So here I want to display campaign type, campaign ID, whatever you want to display. So all you need to do in the displayed column, just include those fields which you want to display. Now remember in addresses is an array, assigned is an array, expenses is an array. So to support an array, the form array, I have created three functions: address line, add address, and delete address. So I need to change these functions as well. Now addresses, because I'm keeping those, there's no need to make any changes. So for the second array, the email one, I am going to just change this to assignments. All you need to do, change the function names, and it's going to behave almost the same because I'm not changing the functionality. I'm just changing the function's name, and I'm just changing the field name. Otherwise, everything else remains the same. So here you go. Assignments, expenses. So now let's go to the last three functions, which were initially we created for the phone numbers. Sorry, not yeah. So I'm just going to change all of this to expenses. So let's call these expense lines. And then copy this and replace the phone lines with the expense lines. And instead of add phones, just say add expenses. Instead of delete phones, say delete expenses. So I think you are getting the idea. It's very similar implementation, just changing the file name, because that's why when we quoted the backend.service file, we just our functions were so dynamic functions. So initially we were just passing the address book collection URL. Instead of address book, I'm just changing it to campaign. So I don't need to change the function anymore because the function is generic. That's why I always encourage to write generic function so that these can be used. Now I just need to include couple of collections. So while I'm here, I'm also going to do it for lead and opportunity as well. So let's include a new collection definitions for campaign. Same thing for lead and opportunity. Let's call it lead. So similarly, when we copy paste, when you're creating the lead component, all you need to do when you're passing the collection name URL, just instead of passing the address book or campaign, just pass leads and opportunity. That looks good. Now save this backend.service. I think we are done with the backend.service file here. So here, just make sure that you are calling everywhere instead of address book. Just call campaign collection URL everywhere else. Sure. So I just want to glance it over one more time to make sure that I got rid of all the address book references and I've changed those appropriately to the campaign page. There's one more function is called getDoc, and instead getDoc, remember I'm recreating that form, so I need to replace this form to reflect the campaign component fields. All right, that looks good. Now let me change these references as well. So it should be this dot address, assigned lines. Okay. Let me change these references as well. It's called assigned lines. Okay, now the last one, instead of phone lines, I just want to call it expenses lines. So make sure that you do not see any error on your component.typescript file. Okay, and get rid of all the references to the previous pages or wherever you are copied it from. I think this is pretty much it from the TypeScript file. Now, please make sure that whatever fields you have added or removed, please take a note of this one, because once we go to the HTML file, you just need to make the changes to reflect those new fields, what we have defined in the TypeScript file. So I'm just going to fast forward my recording so that you can see and you can get the idea how I am implementing those in HTML file. So my HTML file looks good. Now let's go and test it out. So right now I am at the campaign component here, campaign page. So again, just to recap, one more thing I'm missing here. So remember, I have added the extra pages, but I still need to go back to my Firebase collection, Firebase database rules, and update those rules. So again, if you, I'm going to include the link to my GitHub repository so that you can easily find these rules. So you can go to my GitHub repository, copy paste these rules, and make sure that you include those to your Firebase collection. Firebase database rules. So all you need to do, copy those rules and go back to your Firebase database rules and paste it over there. So let me just test out this functionality. Okay, so my campaign looks good. The similarly, very, 99% same. I'm just going to copy the entire TypeScript file from the campaign.component.ts file here. Just paste it over to the lead.component.ts file. So once you have one page ready, all it takes, you can just copy over, because you are familiar with the code and you know exactly what fields you have included and what you want to get rid of it. So all you need to do, copy paste, and then you can do a global replace if you know just be careful when you are changing the variable file names. Otherwise, it's a very, very similar implementation. So again, go to the HTML file site. I'm just going to copy this from campaign.component.html file. Let's go to lead.component.html file, paste it over there, and make sure that you change all the references from campaign to leads. So again, sorry, I don't want to cover all of this, the entire implementation details, because these are very, very similar. But I think you got the idea. So the whole idea was to implement one functionality, and then you can just and the whole idea was I wanted to show you how easy it is to change the field names, and you can add extra fields, remove extra fields as per your business requirement. So I hope you like this video. There's one more video left on this series. In the next part, I'm going to cover another functionality where similarly I'm going to create more and more pages for the call center. So for example, the help desk inquiry pages, or expense or work orders, service orders, you will be able to capture all those details. So again, I'm just going to include that link to my GitHub repository. I hope you like this video. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have any issues. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.